Hi, welcome to Japanese craft beer reviews, and today we're going to begin a series of beers from the brewery which is called Ise Kadoya, and this is a kind of long-standing Japanese craft brewery. They've been around for a while, and in fact, as a sake brewery, the company has been around since 1575. As a craft brewery, they started in 1997, and they're quite well established in Japan, and they're generally regarded as one of the better craft beer breweries in the country. And so they opened in 1997. The founding company, the relative of one of the founders, is named Suzuki Naohiro. And Suzuki-san actually has a PhD in microbiology. He studied yeast for his doctorate, so he is well involved in the beer world, and certainly has a lot of knowledge to offer Ise Kadoya. So he is a relative of the founding family. The name Ise Kadoya refers to the city of Ise, and Kadoya to the family name of the founding sake brewing family. And they're quite well known across Japan. They have a variety of different beers, several souvenir beers, including their Shinto beer line, which you often see as a souvenir kind of beer to take away from the Mie area. And I don't like to say it, but they are one of the early adopters into the Tap Marché program, which was Kirin's attempt, or is Kirin's attempt to kind of co-opt the craft beer scene in Japan by putting cheap tap systems into any bar or restaurant that wants to have them and allow them to offer craft beer. Primarily Kirin Spring Valley beers, but also a number of real craft beers such as Ise Kadoya. And a number of breweries have participated in that, and I'm kind of disappointed that they are one of them. But they opened a new brewery in 2018 called the Shimono Brewery. They expanded, and they have a number of restaurants as well. In Ise, they have two tap areas. They have a restaurant in Naiku Mai, which is in front of what's called the Inner Shrine. Ise is famous for a very large Shinto shrine, a very important Shinto shrine in Japan. And Naiku is one of the areas, and they have a restaurant there with 6 taps, and then Geku Mai shop with 4 taps outside of it. And at the brewery itself, or the old brewery, the old sake brewery, they have a shop. And in Tokyo, they have 2 restaurants, one in Shinjuku and one Yaesu, and so you can get a lot of their beers at a variety of places. And recently, in the last couple of years, they have been putting out many limited and seasonal beers, many one-offs as well. The head brewer is now a man named Deguchi, and he really knows what he's doing. He appears often at tap takeovers at different places in Japan when they do a tap takeover for Ise Kadoya beer. Okay, well, that's just a brief introduction to the company, and we're going to look at, I think, 13, 14 different beers from them, and so that's a lot, so let's get started. And now we're going to look at another beer from Ise Kadoya in Ise City, Mie Prefecture, in the middle of Japan, and it's this one. It's called Ise Hime White, and Hime is probably best translated as princess, and this is a witbier, or Belgian white, and it is a 5% beer at 25 international bittering units. Now, on RateBeer it has 17 ratings, 10 reviews, an average score of 3.48 out of 5, 50 percentile for all beers on RateBeer, and 85 percentile for its style, which is wit beer. Untapped, there are 829 ratings at an average score of 3.54. Now, I think this is a new version. I have had this and I've rated it. I just checked, I rated it in 2015, so about 5 years ago, 6 years ago almost, I guess. And I gave it a 3.2 out of 5 back then, and we'll see. But I think this is a new one. They apparently have done some collaborating with Mie University, and I think that is where the head of the brewery, Suzuki-san, went to school for microbiology. I'm not sure, but so they've collaborated with Mie University, and this one also has some yuzu peel in it. Yuzu is a Japanese citrus fruit. It's increasing in popularity, certainly in many places. And so this contains barley, malt, and wheat malt, and unmalted wheat, yuzu peel, hops, and coriander. Okay, so it's got a kind of typical witbier bill of ingredients, except for the yuzu, which should the yuzu peel, which should be quite interesting. Generally, the peel is orange peel, Curacao orange peel, dried Curacao orange peel, which goes into this. But let's give this one a go, shall we? Again, it's called Hime White from Ise Kadoya Brewery, and I believe it's a new version of this wit beer. Okay, it is fairly hazy, sort of dark pastel yellow, maybe some greenish sort of tinge to it. And through the light, you can see it's not clear at all, very cloudy. About half a finger of white foam on top. And it smells very much like a wit beer. Definitely has the citrusy, coriander-ish sort of nose coming up. The combination of those two is a hallmark of the style. I don't really sense it as yuzu necessarily. I think the wheat malt is pretty strong in here, the wheat malt. Okay, so it does have a very weedy, kind of perfumey, citrusy sort of nose. The wheat is strong. Spice is light, but it's there. And flavor definitely has a deep fruitiness. Maybe some peach, very light, weedy, sort of banana sort of nose. This seems a little bit darker and heavier than many wit beers. 25 IBU, I'm not sure if that's a typical load of bittering hops for a wit beer, but it seems a little bit heavier than many wit beers. Kind of medium body. This is very well done. Does not have the complexity of a great beer, for example, like a Schneider Weiss, Meinhofen Weiss, or something like that. But it is very solidly made. I don't tend to think of Ise Kadoya as a specialist in wheat beers, but they've made this one quite well. Yeah, so I suggest you give this a try. I would recommend this one quite well. It's called Hime White by Ise Kadoya. 5% and 25 international bittering units. So give it a go and tell me what you think, and let's explore some more Ise Kadoya beers in our next videos. I'll make a playlist. I think I already have a playlist for Ise Kadoya, so but you can check and see kind of the other beers they're making. They're a very active brewer these days, putting out lots of interesting limited beers or one-offs and that sort of thing. So Okay, see you next time.